welcome to my channel, Texas Gal Treasures. In today's video, we are going to take a walk around this Goodwill, and I am going to share with you 5+ things that you can look for in different sections of the Goodwill. This could go for any thrift store, so if you don't have Goodwills near you, you could look for these at Savers or any other thrift store that you might have nearby. So it's good to have an item in different sections of the thrift store that are go-to items that you can look for. Even if you don't know anything else to look for in that section, have at least one thing you can find. So I get that the jewelry counter can be really overwhelming for someone, but something you can look for, and I see this every now and then out and about, so this is something that's like a unicorn find, but it's something to keep an eye out for because you may not recognize it if you don't know what it is, and this is called Eastern Star. So the Order of the Eastern Star is a Masonic group. My great-grandmother was in Eastern Star, and so she's got quite a bit of jewelry that I don't think we'll ever sell because it's part of our family. But if you find it, and I have found pieces of Eastern Star jewelry, it can go for quite a bit of money. So if you take a look, if you see something that looks like a star, and each point of the star has got a different color associated with it, then that is Eastern Star. So I'm showing you here some different rings and the prices that they have gone for. A lot of times these Eastern Star rings are set in gold, silver, may have precious gemstones. So if you find something that is Eastern Star, it can go for a good amount of money. There are less expensive pieces out there as well, but if you find something that has got that star on it, it's definitely worth a double look on that. So definitely keep an eye out for anything that has Eastern Star. This group started in the 1850s, so this is really old. Some of it can be really old. I don't know how active they are anymore. I'm not very familiar with that. So having that star in your memory banks and keeping an eye out for it when you're scanning over things is something that could really be very profitable in the future. I don't think there's a ton of people who know about this, so if there's a thrift store that has something with this Eastern Star on it, they may or may not know what they've got. So it's something that you might find. I see it every now and then when I'm out and about, but it's definitely out there. So keep an eye out for Eastern Star. Leave a comment down below and let me know what's something out of the jewelry counter or that's hanging up in the jewelry section that you like to look for. Everybody's got to have one go-to piece that they're looking for, even if they don't know anything else. What's your go-to piece in the jewelry counter? Alright, you're getting a twofer on jewelry this time. Something I like to look for in jewelry is something called Brutalist. I did end up picking up that brooch. But there's a style of jewelry called Brutalist, and it's something that will probably stand out to you once you are able to recognize it. It looks really harsh. I don't know how else to describe it, like roughly made, harsh. There might be really jagged lines or like this one that's got these pieces of, looks like branches kind of poking out all over. So if you start familiarizing yourself with what Brutalist jewelry looks like, it can go for a pretty good profit. So I looked up brutalist jewelry for you guys, and it says the term brutalism originally applied to a type of roughly finished monolithic architecture, and it has been since applied to jewelry. So it's a lot of times they look like one-of-a-kind pieces. And so like here's a perfect example here, this big abstract one. A lot of times you'll also see them listed as modernist. So anytime you see something that kind of, it might make you take a second glance, or it might be something that you look at and be like, ugh, what is that? Like, who's going to wear that? That might be something you need to stop and look at. So as you can see from these eBay solds, they could start anywhere in the $20 range and go all the way up into the hundreds, depending on if it's a signed piece. So definitely keep an eye out for jewelry that might be considered brutalist. And let's take a look at that brooch again I picked up. That brooch I did pick up for $2. I should have gotten that one too, but I didn't. As we're going along, make sure you're leaving me comments and letting me know if you're enjoying these tips, and I will continue these videos, so make sure you have hit that subscribe button and the little bell. Alright, everybody knows about the Thai Beanie Baby craze. They don't go for what they used to or what people thought they were going to go for. This is a Thai Beanie Buddy, but I still like to look at them because there are some that can go for good money. This is not one. I did end up looking it up, but I wanted to take a look. It's good to know like what ones would be good to be on the lookout for. I did a search for recently sold Beanie Babies, and I had to do a double take on this lizard one that sold for $119. Sometimes ones that go for a big profit have got maybe a defect, or maybe they're a little more rare. So what I ended up doing is first looking at recent solds to see if anything stands out. And there wasn't anything majorly that stood out other than that lizard. But another thing I like to do is to sort them by highest price. And then I don't just automatically go off the highest price that was sold, because it might be a fluke, or you just never know. So what I like to do is to look for patterns. I look for multiples of that same one that have sold right in that same price bracket. So I'm going to show you a couple of these that I'm going to have on my radar now, because I see them in a higher price bracket, and there's not just a one-off that is sold for $5,000, which sounds crazy, but that there are multiples that sell generally for that price. So as I scroll, I start to notice one that is showing up over and over again, and it's this old face Beanie Baby. It's kind of like the old kind of style teddy bear face. So I start noticing that that one is showing up more and more frequently, and it's got, sometimes it's in brown, sometimes it's in purple, but I'm noticing that that's one that I'm seeing a pattern with in that higher, definitely higher price range. So this old-faced bear is one that I'm going to keep on my radar. If I can pick it up for pretty cheap and take the risk on it, it may be one of these that flips for a big profit. There was one other one here that I wanted to share with you guys that I started seeing a pattern with, and it was the butterfly. So I'm noticing that the butterfly that's got this tie-dye pattern seems to be selling really well. And there's also a Mothra. It's like a Japanese one. It looks like a Mothra only sold in Japan. So if I see a butterfly or a moth, that's something else that I'm going to make sure that I'm on the lookout for. And this isn't to say that all of these are going to sell for this crazy amount, but if I can just have in my mind 2 different Beanie Babies, so if I have a mountain of Beanie Babies at a garage sale, and I have 2 that I'm looking for, and that's a old face bear and a butterfly, then that really helps me narrow things down. So taking a walk through the hard goods, something I'm drawn to as a jewelry seller are also jewelry boxes, and I do come across this really cool glass jewelry box. They want $8 for it. I don't end up getting it. It's got the tags and everything, so I do look it up. I think if it had been closer to $3 or $4, I would have bought it. But I wanted to share with you guys that there are some glass trinket boxes and jewelry boxes that can sell for a really good price. Some of them are antique, so it's definitely worth a check out if you see them, to do a quick search and find out if it's something that you might be able to sell. So here you see a gold filigreed one that sold for $24. I'm seeing some of these wooden ones that look like they've been upcycled throughout this, so if that's your jam, then definitely pick up those, like, I think they're tacky, like the tacky brown wooden ones, and sand them down, paint them, and flip them for a bigger profit, because they seem to be selling okay. But as you can see, some of these vintage gold, like ornate ones, or that have gold filigree around them, and then there are ones that have this gold, I mean not gold, but glass along the sides, that those can sell for a really good profit as well. So definitely take a peek at those, especially if you can get them for a pretty cheap price. I wasn't really confident that $8 was going to give me a good return on investment, because the one that they had there at the thrift store was not a vintage one. But as you can see, there are some of these that are plated, that have a glass top, that people like to have for their, Regency style dresser. So let's take a look at the shelves. Let me know if you see anything that jumps out at you. I always end up seeing stuff I missed when I look around later through the video. I'm like, oh, there was some really cool glass there, or that was a cool box. So, oh, I did look at this little panoramic camera, but again, they wanted too much for it. It was so, I think they wanted like $5 or $6, and I was like, I'm not even going to bother looking that up. I don't think it's going to be worth it. But I did want to talk about a book that you could be on the lookout for. There's a book that's a Betty Crocker cookbook called The Cookie Book. So this is another one that if you're looking at a whole bunch of cookbooks, if you can just think cookie book, then this is something that you can definitely make a good profit on. And I'm going to re-show the spine of this, because if you're just looking at the spines of the books, you're not going to see the cookie book along the spine, because it's kind of like a spiral bound, and then it's got this paper around it. So you might want to, if you see something like that, like pull it out and look at the cover and see if you've got a cookie book on your hands, because that can go for a serious amount of money. So in this video, we took a walk around the Goodwill, and I shared with you guys some different things you can make some hot cash on if you are out flipping on eBay. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you're enjoying these videos, and we will take another romp around thrift stores to see what else we can flip for a good profit. Boy, she's really enjoying that cash, isn't she? Yeah, make sure you follow me on Facebook at Texas Gal Treasures. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.